Hello and welcome to In Case You Missed It for February 2021. Now, I thought February was going to be a slow month for a few offbeat stories, but I was wrong. It was actually way more happening than I could keep up with, so it was hard narrowing down the stories to a few. So, I hope you enjoyed the ones selected, and let's jump right into it. Our first story comes to us from my home state of California, where a politician, Steve Weiner, has authored a bill that would decriminalize psychedelics and would make them an acceptable medical treatment. If this bill passes, not only would possession and usage of psychedelics be legal, but anyone convicted of possession or usage of the substance would have their records expunged. The bill would also create a task force to recommend which regulatory body would oversee personal and therapeutic use of the substance for mental health treatment. People should not be going to jail for possessing and using drugs. It's a health issue, not a criminal issue, and I hope that we get all the way there, Weiner said in an interview. The biggest opponent of decriminalization of drugs is predictably law enforcement, who cite public safety concerns. In my opinion, law enforcement does not care about public safety. They care that an easy revenue generator would be gone. So here's hoping that the bill gets through the steps that it needs to get through and makes it to the ballot for people to vote on. Something tells me though, if this passes, Niema might be moving to California. Fruit Loops, Tricks, Lucky Charms, what do they all have in common? They're cereals. Most people have a favorite breakfast cereal, but what would happen if you got some Frosted Flakes with an extra coating of frosting? Well, if that happens, the feds might just bust down your door and take you in for possession of cocaine. I should probably explain. U.S. Customs and Border Protection in Cincinnati intercepted a fairly large shipment of cornflakes heading to Hong Kong from South America. The CBP decided to inspect the shipment and opened a box of cornflakes, of which they found two problems. The frosted sugar on the cornflakes was grayish in color instead of white, and cornflakes don't have frosted sugar. This raised all sorts of red flags, so the CBP tested the frosting and it turns out it was cocaine. About $2.8 million worth of cocaine-dusted cornflakes was seized. Now, I'm sure there's someone in Hong Kong who is not happy that their breakfast of champions won't be making the journey to their kitchen. A new species of chameleon has been discovered in Madagascar. Called the Nano Chameleon, this lizard is now officially the smallest reptile in the world. The females are slightly larger than their male counterparts, coming in at 1.1 inches, and that's including the tail, while the males are 0.9 inches, including the tail. To make sure that this species of chameleon was indeed this small and not juveniles, researchers conducted micro-CT scans. And it turns out, yes, they are indeed full-grown adult chameleons. Of interesting note, the male's genitalia is 20% of its body, meaning he's packing some serious heat and he isn't short if he's laying horizontally. So, if you ever find yourself in Madagascar, be on the lookout for these tiny guys, and try not to step on them. So, let's say you're in Alaska. It's winter, snow is everywhere, and nature is calling. Well, the only place to do your business is an outhouse. So, you do what you gotta do. You go in there, you sit down, and you feel something. Something rather sharp pierces your butt cheek. You immediately hop up and see what the heck it was. And this is where Shannon Stevens comes in. Shannon was out in the backcountry of Alaska with her brother and his girlfriend when she needed to use the outhouse. Well, immediately after sitting her bare cheeks on the toilet, she felt a pain and got the heck out of there. Her brother Eric went to investigate, and when he went into the outhouse and lifted the toilet seat, he said that there was a bear looking back at him. Yes, Shannon's butt was bitten by a bear. Shannon and Eric both rushed back indoors where they treated Shannon's bottom. The next day, the bear was long gone, but they did find bear tracks among the property. Shannon said that she will now look before squatting. No, what you're seeing now is not a picture of a tornado. Yes, I know it looks like a tornado, but I promise you, it's not a tornado. What this is, while uncomfortable, is rather harmless. This picture comes to us from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Buenos Aires has been getting major rain lately, and because of this, mosquito breeding has gone wild. And that's what you're seeing here. A twister of mosquitoes making sweet love. It's pretty freaking scary, and I'd hate to have to walk through that. So an investment in bug spray and repellent would be a wise choice if a mosquito twister was headed your way. In Coolidge, Arizona, 19-year-old Brandon Solis was beaten up, kidnapped, and left tied up on the side of a road. Two masked men found out that Brandon has a rich father who buried some money out in the desert. Needless to say, the two men wanted said money and figured they'd take Brandon as ransom. When they realized they weren't going to get any money, they tossed Brandon and took off to parts unknown. Luckily, police found Brandon and got him medical attention. About a week later, though, Brandon would be the one ending up behind bars. The reasoning for this is because he faked his kidnapping. Brandon beat himself up, gagged himself with a bandana, used a belt to tie his hands together, and tossed himself on the side of the road. Brandon was found out thanks to a surveillance camera outside his home that police looked at. The footage they saw didn't match the tall tale spun by Brandon, and it was a tall tale indeed. There were a chain of text messages that Brandon somehow created to make it actually seem that he was part of a planned kidnapping. Brandon confessed to faking everything, and when asked why, he responded, he didn't want to go to work that day. No, that was his only reason. He didn't want to go to work. So he concocted this elaborate kidnapping so he wouldn't go to work. I mean, don't get me wrong. Most people hate their job and fake being sick to not go in. But to fake a kidnapping? That's next level. Good news for Brandon is he no longer has to worry about going in for work. After the story broke about him faking everything, he was immediately terminated. Our final story comes to us from South Africa. And well, we're still dealing with this freaking pandemic, and some of us are more annoyed about it than others, particularly at having to wear face coverings. Well, Twitter user JLN captured some video on how one person dealt with not having a face covering and being denied the service. Take a look.
Well, personally, I find it acceptable. It is a mask. Yeah, son. And quite frankly, I think the bacteria on your knickers is less than on the mask. Yeah, the bacteria on the mask is less than her knickers. So, hey, well done to you. Hey, brilliant, woman. That's absolutely brilliant. Okay.
And that concludes In Case You Missed It for February 2021. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed or have your own offbeat story, be sure to share it with us in the comment section down below. Also, while at it, follow Unexplained Possibilities on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and Instagram. Thank you all again for watching, and we will be seeing you next month.